Hi everyone, it's Roger and James here from the What's on Disney Plus podcast. In this week's episode, I'm going to be quickly running through all of the news from the past week. So I'll be talking about Flora and Ulysses going into production. I'll be talking a little bit about the Winter Soldier, a little bit about Loki, and a few other bits as well. And then me and James later on are going to be having a discussion all about past movies from like Fox and other areas and TV shows, and how to be integrated into Disney Plus. So a bit of housekeeping before we go on any further. If you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel or subscribe on the audio platforms. We're on things like Spotify, Apple, Google, etc., the usual kind of things. You can find us over at whatsondisneyplus.com. So if you can bookmark it, favorite it, that would be great. And as per usual, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook. And we've also got our Facebook group. Mind that this one's a little bit different than normal. James is away on vacation, so we pre-recorded our conversation. But I just want to quickly just go through some of the news of the week, just to kind of keep you up to date. So first off, go into the big news. Really was that production has now begun on Flora and Ulysses, which is a brand new Disney Plus exclusive movie. So officially been revealed, and we've been knowing about a lot of this for a while now, but it's kind of one of those situations sometimes until we actually get the information officially, this is the first time. Filming has begun this week in Vancouver in Canada. It does star Matilda Lawler as the main character. We've also Alison Hennigan from How I Met Your Mother and American Pie. She's going to be playing the mum. Ben Scorts, who is from Parks and Recreation. So that's great, but we know it. But now it's officially there. We had the official press release. So that was good news. It's going to be interesting to see where this one goes. Know nothing about the movie. But I'm really excited about having a live-action movie, not a sequel, not a reboot, not anything like that. It's brand new, based on an original book. So let's see where that one goes. Kind of tying into that as well, we have got an untitled fairy tale movie. We don't know what it's about. We don't know what it's doing or anything like this one. But it's apparently based on a screenplay by Kat Vesco. And it's also going to be directed by Susan Johnson. So that's pretty cool. What's also reporting that Olivia Cooke and Lakeith Stanfield are going to be playing the lead roles. We know nothing really about this one here. It's literally the untitled fairy tale movie. Could be anything. I will be honest. I do not think this one looks to be a reboot or a refresh of anything we've seen already, like Lady in the Tramp. And it could be years. I mean, hopefully we'll find out officially soon what's going on with that one there. Cover other little snippets. So we know now that Pixar and Disney are going to be at, as we talked about last week, they're going to be at the D23 Expo, and we know that Short Circuit shorts are also going to be present, and there's going to get to see people are going to see their first chance of seeing some of those shorts that will be coming to it. Another kind of cool little thing was apparently Taika Waititi. I always kind of can't pronounce his name there. He's apparently working on a new Flash Gordon animated movie. It's being made by Fox, but the difference is now is, but if it's an animated movie, it's going to take a few years for them to do this. And by which point, any deals with like stars or anything like that will have expired. So I think we're going to see a big of a difference maybe in a few years' time when they can decide with some movies whether or not they have that much more freedom. So yeah, if it's an animated movie, it's going to take a few years to make. But yeah, so hopefully we'll see that at some point. If it's an animated movie, it depends if it's a little bit more adult orientated, maybe more kind of less not the style, but like Family Guy, that kind of thing where it's a little bit older, they might want to go down there, or it depends on really on how they do that one. National Geographic's had a very busy week. They have announced a new documentary called The Cave, which very much sounds very deep. This one is going to be coming out in theaters this fall, and I'm just going to read you a little bit here about this one. Is a powerful new film about a hidden secret underground hospital in Syria and the unprecedented female-led team of civilians and medical professionals who are risking their lives to provide medical care to this besieged local population. Again, this is good stuff for me. I like this kind of documentary stuff. I'm liking this more serious thing. To TV 14 or a PG-13, it might end up going Hulu instead. I think this one probably won't be going that much in depth, but who knows? The fact that Free Solo is coming to Disney Plus. I think anything really that comes under the National Geographic banner is probably more than likely going to be ending up coming out on Disney Plus. They're just not announcing anything like this yet. It very much seems they are holding back. They don't want to kind of confuse things and say it's coming to Disney Plus later. There was also another TV show that got announced, and this one is actually right up my alley. So we've got a new TV show called Out There with Jack Randall. So this guy's been doing YouTube videos, and what's interesting about this one is he's actually he used to work with Steve Irwin out in Australia, and so his new TV show, he's going to be out doing all kinds of bits and pieces. He's going to be out there, like one episode he's out with the ghost serpent, another episode he's out there with a kangaroo mob, and then he's got another episode with the most venomous snakes, and then chasing giants, battling of the crocs, and then a wild camel chase. He's been doing loads of bits and pieces on YouTube. This is all going to be coming to National Geographic Wild in July. So I do think, again, anything coming to National Geographic is more likely going to be coming there. So this is great. Again, no confirmation of Disney Plus. However, when I did check his Twitter page, he had retweeted about Disney Plus National Geographic. So I think this is a perfect audience. You're going to have, he's obviously going to be appealing to a younger audience. Now, Steve Irwin, I used to love watching that channel, these shows. So love it. Even when I was out traveling around Australia, when I was backpacking, I went to Australia Zoo and saw the crocs and all the snakes and stuff there. Love all this stuff. This is something I am actually really excited about. Something like this is great. So I know I'm going to be watching this in July on National Geographic anyway, rather than waiting for it on Disney Plus. But yeah, I'm loving this idea of having this kind of content on there. But yeah, that starts on National Geographic Wild on July the 7th, and it's a 6-part series. And he's out in the outback. Yeah, and it's just he was an apprentice at 14 to Steve Irwin. So yeah, so that's kind of definitely took that one pretty seriously. So other quick bits of news. Anthony, a lot of discussion about the Winter Soldier and the movies and all the TV series. He did confirm that production on that is going to be starting in October. The fact that the production is going to be going into October. So in that case, we can rule out them giving off any preview of the TV series at D23 or San Diego Comic-Con, because they've not even filmed any of it yet. We might get some concept art or a little bit of information about the plot, but yeah, don't expect any footage from it or anything like that, because they haven't even started filming it yet. So that's definitely a thing just to note. Also, Loki as well. They talked to Tom Hiddleston in the Shanghai International Film Festival. It didn't, again, he's very much staying tight-lipped. He did say that it's going to be a new departure for Loki. So I could really be say it in any different way. So it's very difficult to know exactly where that might go or what he's doing. But I like it. I like the idea that he is staying stum. And we've only got a couple of weeks now till the San Diego Comic-Con, so I'm hoping we get some more juicy gossip about what's going on with Marvel, whether or not we just get Phase 4 planned, so we get a little bit of an idea. And also, maybe there's a few snippets for the Disney Plus. I'm not expecting a lot from that San Diego, but if we know where the movies are going, then maybe we might get I'm hoping for a Hawkeye official reveal, but who knows. We've got Spider-Man Far From Home hitting cinemas next week. I am going to go see that one probably Tuesday nights. I did actually go see Toy Story last week at the cinema. Me and my wife went along. Really enjoyed it. I thought that was a great, fun little movie. Laughed all the way through it. Loved sort of Keanu Reeves' character. And it was just this kind of thing. I will be honest now. I don't think it was good as Toy Story 3. But I didn't get that kind of, oh my God, this was amazing. It's great. It's more Toy Story and it's really good. It felt like a natural ending to it as well. Can't wait to see what they do with Falcon on Disney Plus. And I kind of feel somewhere that they have split this series in two. They could carry on with maybe just Buzz, or Woody. I don't know what they're going to do with it. But good. Really enjoyed it. I wouldn't be surprised. It's not the best. And it's hard to say this because it is really good and it is very, very good. But I didn't walk out going, oh my God, that was amazing. I just walked out and went, yeah, I enjoyed that. I thought that was good. And that's not a bad thing. And I think that might be why the box office for it when it came out wasn't quite as hot as people expected. I mean, it still did very, very well. It's bringing in tons of money, but it's a little bit under what Disney and other people were expecting. And I can't help but wondering if it was because of people like me, where we went like a week later. And I think it's going to be like a slow burn. I know my brother and his family are going to be going this weekend. we're all going a little bit later. It's almost that kind of thing. Like, well, we'll get there. It's going to have the whole of the summer to keep clawing in money. And I think that's the cool thing with Toy Story. It will just pull in money continuously over the summer with kids off vacation and holidays and things like that. So that's pretty good. So that was definitely a highlight for me. Okay, so now let's talk now about these before the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the things that went on outside of that, and whether or not we think they're going to be brought in to Disney Plus. For example, especially the Fox movies. So we have got the things like all the X-Men, the Fantastic Four. We've even got things like Daredevil, and maybe there's some other Marvel TV shows and stuff that they might want to bring in, either licensing in or have already purchased. Now, for me, if Disney Plus has a Marvel area and it has full of Marvel stuff, I do not understand any reason at all why they would not want to include as much Marvel content from outside of the MCU. Previous cartoons, X-Men, the animated series, the Spider-Man animated series from the 90s, and Amazing Friends. And I do not understand why there'd be any reason for them not to include this at all, do you?
No, and the only possible exception I could see, other than licensing, of course, would be if it was a mature title, like the Blade trilogy or Wolverine, Logan, the one that was rated R, the Deadpool movies. And even in those cases, I could see them popping onto Hulu, utilize the older audience there. But mature content would be off. But other than that, they've had a dozen Spider-Man shows over the years, just from the 90s or just from the 70s. No reason not to have them on there, because every single one of them is somebody's favorite version of Spider-Man. I mean, I love the one in the 90s. That's what I grew up with. The X-Men show, there's also been 5 or 6 versions of the X-Men, because they had X-Men Evolution and Wolverine in the X-Men and all that. And it costs them virtually nothing to host it, in digital storage and stream it out whenever it's requested. There's a very rich history there. They should totally take advantage of it to the absolute maximum.
There's so much out there, and I think it would be a mistake. I don't want Disney Plus just to be the Marvel Studios version of the Marvel Cinematic. It's like there is a lot more stuff out there. There's a lot of cartoons. They need to offer that variety. Yeah, I mean, we've kind of got, this kind of thing. People are not stupid. People can work out that, this movie was from 2000. It's not connected to it. We know Ben Affleck as Daredevil. It was a single movie. It's fine. People can work that out. Kids aren't, I think they are, they might not want to keep it, but it's like there is a lot of history there. There's a lot of, whether or not everything comes over straight away, it might be stretched out. And I think it really depends on where they go forward with Disney Plus, of going of where they keep adding to it and what they want to put out there. Because I actually think, to be honest, that some of the things they've been saying so far about how many movies are going to be on there and how many TV episodes, it's like they've got a lot bigger back catalogue, and they don't seem to be wanting to put everything in there. What I don't want to see is like Disney Plus is MCU and Disney only created content, and anything that wasn't made by Disney is shoved onto Hulu, because then you're just splitting the Marvel content. If it's the Marvel home, then that's the Marvel home. I'm already not really too keen on the idea that we've already got, the new Ghost Rider show and these the other Hulu shows. I already feel like that's a split in that they shouldn't be doing. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems very odd. It would make sense, especially from like the animated series, to keep them. And like the X-Men movies, they made tons of money. It's like, use them. Use them. The Fantastic Four movies, they're not very good. But put them on there. Why not? If you own it, put it on there. Put it in there. Let people. Yeah, I understand why you wouldn't want to put maybe Blade in there. I mean, they might not even own the rights to it, or the Blade series, or I can understand why Legion wouldn't be put on there. But things like the Inhumans and, that's even technically part of the MCU, really. But, put as much stuff on there. We know we can go up to TV 14. So put Cloak and Dagger, put the Runaways, put as much stuff on there to make it so that people know that is
the Marvel, you've got as much in there as possible, because all you're going to end up having is people going, well, it's not got everything in there. It's only the Disney sterilized version of what Marvel content is out there.
So a couple of counterpoints there. First one being, no, I actually don't think that people are very good at distinguishing what's an MCU movie and what is not an MCU movie. We see the questions all the time of, is Dark Phoenix part of the MCU? Is Batman part of the MCU? Why aren't the Avengers and the Justice League working together? Why isn't Shazam in here? Why isn't Blade part of this? These are constant, repeated questions, and that will be very confusing. Is the Fantastic Four part of this? I think Disney can kind of blunt that by making the banners on them very, very obvious of what is MCU and what is not. However, I think people listening to this and people who are like fully invested in the MCU know the difference, because we're into it. But the casual viewer doesn't know, and for the most part doesn't even necessarily care. Which universes are connected and which ones aren't. But even my parents were kind of like, oh, the Endgame's in theater. What should I watch to do Endgame? And like, well, here's the 5 movies I think would be in front of it. Oh, well, should I watch Logan? I'm like, no, not for this. And so that's one counterpoint. Another counterpoint is there are a couple of movies out there, most notably, say, the most recent Fantastic Four movie, where it wouldn't necessarily be a good idea to put it on there, because you could argue that a movie of that low caliber is damaging to the brand, to the Fantastic Four brand. And they haven't announced anything specifically, but we know they want to bring the Fantastic Four in. There's no reason not to bring the Fantastic Four in. And if you can kind of get people to forget about Fantastic Four Stick, or whatever you want to call it, the most recent one, it might not be in their best interest to have that on the system. Keeping in mind, there's only 5 or 6 movies outside the MCU that you wouldn't want people to think about. Maybe Elektra being another one. Just in terms of quality, generally accepted quality of these movies. And then this last one isn't like a counterpoint. Do you want to include stuff like the Nick Fury movie from the 90s with David Hasselhoff? Do you want the Captain America from the 50s and 60s? And this goes back to point 1, where it's like, I kind of do, just because they're out there and you might as well have them. But at the same time, how certain are you that people will not be confused between, wait, why is Nick Fury white? Why is it David Hasselhoff? Wait, wasn't he in Guardians 2? So
it's a kind of weird thing of, maybe they need to make like, under the Marvel section, there's then like a legacy or a kind of a section on its own, and then everything within that is this random ode stuff, because I don't want them to kind of essentially just like whitewash over it all, of just like going, oh yeah, all of this is rubbish. And it's like, no, there's a lot of value there. I don't want it to be like nobody can ever see the Fantastic Four 3 movie ever again, because Marvel, no, we don't like it. It wasn't made by us. I don't want. It's like, no, you put it out there. You let people make this choice. If no one watches it because they go, oh, that was a rubbish movie, then it's fine. But I don't want them kind of cherry picking and not giving us the options of like, when you turn around and go in 5 years' time and go, I wouldn't mind watching that really bad Elektra movie. Nobody's got it because they've like hidden it from history. It's like, it's not that bad to do that. It's like, it's like, there's no, you don't want the confusion factor, but it's like I say, it might make more sense to chuck all this stuff up on Hulu. But I don't know. It's that kind of thing of like, if this is the Marvel home, embrace your past. And also that kind of thing of, well, don't just embrace the nice stuff. You have to embrace, it's like the X-Men movies. You either embrace all of them or none of them. To me, it's like you can't go, well, we don't do Last Stand. We didn't like that one. It's like, no, you've got to do all of them or none of them. I can understand, like you said, the R-rated ones, but if you've got to put them all out, the fact that the way they are pushing Dark Phoenix I mean, the amount of advertising they put into this movie, considering how badly it did at the box office, and the way that they were showing off the trailers and going, "No, this is the culmination of 10 years of the X-Men," showed that there was a little bit of pride, a little bit of like, we know they've done something, we know they're loved, let's finish them off. But why not use it? Why not use that as a selling point? There is an interest. They took loads of money at the box office.
Yeah, and if Disney and Disney Plus was the only way to watch these movies, I'd probably agree with you, because that goes pretty far into censorship.
Hello?
Yeah, there we go. So that didn't go through at all, did it?
Yeah.
Okay, so your stuff ended, and then
Yeah,
I guess none of mine. So
here we go.
Give it a second.
Yes, I don't know what you think of, like, you know, them like kind of whitewashing like the X-Men and all the other movies and just sugarcoating them.
See, I don't view it that way at all, and I think that they do want to control, the quality that's presented. Now, if Disney Plus was the absolute only way to see these movies, or Hulu and Disney Plus were the absolute only ways to see these movies, I'd probably agree with you. You don't want to hide the past, even a dirty past like Song of the South or something along those lines, or some of the questionable scenes from the older movies like Dumbo. But it's not. Their DVDs, Blu-rays, probably even 4Ks exist for most of these movies. You can rent them on Amazon, Redbox, all sorts of other ways of getting these movies. So if you really have a craving to see the Jennifer Garner Elektra, there are ways to do it, legal ways to do it. And I don't think that it's necessarily in Disney's best interest to have some of these movies on. Now, it's not in their best, it's not a negative thing if they do have it on there. I don't, like I said earlier, it costs them nothing to host this. I said that earlier in a podcast that's actually going to air several weeks before this one. So, but either way, but I don't think they're under any obligation to say, give us every single X-Men movie. If they want to completely eliminate Wolverine Origin, the first one from the history, I don't think that would be a terrible thing. But at the same time, throw it up there and see if people actually watch it, and something other than just watching all of the movies in order or something like that.
I think like the X-Men, I think they're kind of on a different level than some of the other ones. I think the X-Men, like from the original X-Men right through to Dark Phoenix, there's a kind of thing of they're at almost a different level. They did well at the box office. They're generally well liked. So Fantastic Four is a little bit of a different one because there's 3 movies, and I know
it's 2 movies in 1 movie.
Yeah, but it's that kind of thing of like, especially the first 2, they're not that bad.
They're fine.
They were fine for when they came out. The trouble is almost that kind of thing of like post Marvel Cinematic Universe, things were very different. It's like, I grew up on that, the Hulk TV series with Lou Ferrigno, and like, if they've got the licensing for that stuff, of like, just let it out there. There's that kind of thing of. But I could see it. I don't know. I'm leaning more towards this stuff ending up on Hulu, because that kind of feels like it just makes, in some way, they can kind of go, yeah, we've got all the Fox stuff here. And they just cherry pick. I definitely feel the X-Men are more likely to appear on it than, for example, the Daredevil or Fantastic Four. But Fantastic Four especially the first 2 ones, are much more family friendly.
Oh yeah, they're definitely family friendly, and I don't really have too much of an issue with the first 2. I don't think they're particularly good movies, but they're not bad movies either. Even for the time, even if you account for the fact it's pre-MCU and superheroes were still kind of trying to figure out what they were doing, they're just not good movies. They're just not bad. They just kind of exist. Although I will say the one bad part was that Doctor Doom was completely unintimidating in those movies. The voice, the demeanor, everything was like this. You could not have miscast Dr. Doom much worse than you did. So when I specify that I could see them not putting Fantastic Four on either Hulu or Disney Plus, I am referring specifically to the most recent movie, which I don't know anybody who likes that movie in any form whatsoever. There is almost no redeeming value to the movie. Now, granted, it's not offensive. It's not racist. I think some people. I mean, some people. some people did have issue with the fact that they had the black character be the Human Torch because of certain historical connotation, but I don't think that was seriously one of the main complaints leveled against it. And it's just a really bad movie, like artistically, story wise. Okay, the special effects were really cool, but there's only like one fight in the entire movie, and you watch it on a screen within the movie. It's like,
But then also, I mean, you've got like the Fantastic Four the animated series from like the 80s. I used to watch that on. It's like
I'd put that on. Absolutely.
I think animation kind of slides into a different one. Like we've got like the X-Men animated series. You know, these things put them in there. Let people see what it is. And also, you know, kids today will be like, oh, there was a lot of stuff other. I can't see for any reason why the X-Men animated series or Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, kids will be going, oh, it's old. Oh, I don't want to watch it. Well, just leave it there. It's, you know, use that as a base that there is more to than just the current system. Because eventually, in 20 years' time, they'll be looking back on this stuff going, yeah, that wasn't as good. I mean, I would love them to maybe, you know, sort out deals for the Spider-Man movies from Sony. Get them on there. I know it's that kind of thing of just embrace the characters. Kind of got used to it. It's like Batman. How many the actors are kind of interchangeable now, and I think like we're getting used to that with most people are used to that with Marvel characters.
Yeah, I think it is a little bit of a difference, though. You know, you kind of accept that Batman has had different characters. You know, you've got Keaton and Christian Bale and so on, and these they're even changing the character right now. But the MCU, minus a couple of characters such as War Machine, generally have been one actor, one character throughout this entire 10-year process. And yeah, trying to mix in what is MCU and what isn't MCU can be very confusing for just your average moviegoer. So that is something that needs to be kept in mind. However, back to the original point, which is that the animated shows are a different beast entirely. I agree completely. People are willing to accept and even understand that, you know, the Spider-Man that you see in Ultimate Spider-Man or the 90s Spider-Man is not the same Spider-Man that you see in Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield or the current Tom Holland version. The X-Men are not the X-Men from the movies. It's, you know, heck, you just have to look at it for 10 seconds. They're in full costume, whereas the original X-Men movie was in black leather. Yeah, the television shows, especially the animated ones, no issue. Throw them all up there, all of them. And the Fantastic Four and the Iron Man shows, you know, the Power Hour or whatever they call it, yeah, those were great. Throw in the Fantastic Four with Herbie replacing the Human Torch. Throw up Amazing Spider-Man or Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends with Firestar and Iceman. Absolutely, go nuts with it. And again, like you said, the kids of today might not get into it because the storytelling style is very different. Animation isn't as fluid as it used to be, especially when you get back to the really old stuff. But maybe it does. Maybe, you know, 5-year-old Timmy gets in the habit of watching the old X-Men anime show with his parents as kind of like a bonding thing, and he grows up with an appreciation for him. And maybe he doesn't. Maybe it's just nostalgia for the rest of us. But it doesn't hurt. And I would love to have him on there, honestly.
But we'd love to know what you guys think. Should they include all the previous sort of non-MCU movies and animated shows? Let me know in the comment below. As per usual, guys, go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. Like, follow, and subscribe. And we shall see you guys in another episode. Later.